thank you once again. My name is Janel Mbugua. I am media personality, and I'm very passionate about social mission and gender advocacy through my New Adada Foundation, my I Am Motherhood project, Help a Child Reach 5 with Unilever, and Better for Kenya with the Gates Foundation. I'm also very passionate about health. I'm a wife and a mom, and especially I think becoming a mom really made me realize I need to be on the right health track. And I'm very happy to be here because I've always been, I think supplements for me has always been something that I've heard about but not necessarily practiced until the last few years. And that's why we're here today. We're here to talk supplements. We have two incredible panelists. We have Mohamed Hassam, who is the MD of Quest, and we have Dr. Kagema, who is a consultant gynecologist. So maybe we can just appreciate them and appreciate their presence here today. And before I sit down and begin a conversation with them, by a show of hands, how many of us actually take supplements? Oh, that's good. I was just about to ask how many of us don't. So for those who do, maybe keep your hand up. I'd just like to ask one of you to tell us why it's important. I saw some hands. Oh, she's willing to. Just your name and why you take supplements.
My name is Purity. I take to boost my immunity.
Okay, just to boost your immunity. Okay, great. And then I pinpointed you because you said you don't take supplements. Are you okay with telling us why you don't take supplements?
So growing up, literally like the only thing I remember taking was Quest Emulsion, and that was it. I don't remember taking the 7 C's or nothing like that. So I just grew up and it just became like, yeah, like if you're fine, then it's okay.
If you're fine. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, for me, very briefly, the same thing. I grew up with Quest Emulsion, and then for a period of time, didn't really do anything with supplements. But I know my parents take supplements quite a bit. And about 3-4 years ago, my mom started telling me, you look like you're running low on energy. The lifestyle you have, because I've been being in media for 10 years, you need to supplement that. Whatever you're not getting from being on the run, you need to supplement. And I'd be like, yeah, let me see. So I started here and there, but then really it's when I was expecting my firstborn son is when I really got into it. And then unfortunately went off the radar again, and now I'm on supplements again. And so I think it's important for me to realize I need to constantly be on supplements throughout different life stages. But that's why we're here today. Why supplements are important, debunk some of the myths that are out there, and hopefully change some mindsets. Because in Kenya, I think, we have a lot of potential for people to get onto a healthy lifestyle, but they don't because I don't think they have the right information. How would you actually describe what supplements are?
Okay, well, thank you very much for everyone being here. Well, look, I think the word supplements speaks for itself, but let me expand the word supplement and let's start calling them nutritional supplements. Mm-hmm. So now if we make the word nutritional supplements, what we're talking about is topping our daily nutritional requirements with the use of tablets, capsules, or liquids. And I think nutritional supplements, they have a wide variety of uses, but it will very much depend on the type of supplement we're talking about and also the particular customer, patient that's using the supplement. Mm-hmm. But generally, I think to answer your question, a top-up of your nutrition.
Mm-hmm. And Doctor, maybe a bit of, as much as Mohamed has talked about what they are and that they top up for nutrition, a lot of people might say, if I'm already eating a healthy diet and I'm living a healthy lifestyle, do I really need supplements on top of all that?
Supplements are not supposed to replace a healthy diet. We all need to know that a healthy diet is number one, is key to good health. Supplements are basically that, to supplement what a healthy diet may not completely give you as a person. Mm-hmm. An example is that all of us sometimes are at different stages of life. There are some who are pregnant, there are some who are planning to conceive, there are some who are in menopause, there are children, and each of these different stages may require sometimes a particular form of supplement which may not necessarily be acquired from the diet in a big way. A good example, folic acid. You've all heard about folic acid? Folic acid is very important, let's say, for people who are planning to conceive, because it helps to prevent abnormalities of the brain and spinal cord, so that we encourage women of childbearing age, or if you're planning to conceive, or the first 3 months of pregnancy to take at least a vitamin which contains folic acid. We know folic acid may be found in vegetables, but because of the nausea and vomiting in early pregnancy, you may not be able to take as much as you want from the diet. Another example is, let's say, like if you're in menopause, you require vitamin D and calcium. You may not necessarily get that from your diet. Sometimes you'll be too sick, and you may require to really, you are not able to feed well, so you need something which is rich in some of the vitamins you need at that stage.
Okay.
You know, I would also add two things. For example, you could be absolutely healthy, but active people, highly active people, require a lot of nutrients, and that's always difficult to get from your diet alone. So you could be healthy and active and still benefit from a nutritional supplement. And I think, just as Doctor alluded to, you have specific requirements that will be different to the issue of whether you're healthy or not healthy. So take another example. You're perfectly healthy, but for whatever reason, maybe a woman's had a UTI. You generally have a healthy lifestyle, but you have a UTI. There may be a supplement that can help you to deal with your UTI. So it's not a question of healthy, don't need supplements, not healthy, need supplements. I think the conversation and it's wider than that.
Quick question, just based on the example you gave. Some people will say, but you treat UTIs with an antibiotic, so immediately they wouldn't think that a supplement would cure it. So are those some of the misunderstandings that people have around supplements? They almost think it replaces medicine, in a sense?
Sure. Well, you see, this is what I alluded to in my first answer, is there's different types of supplements. So with this category of supplements, there are supplements that are now starting to come onto the market, nutritional supplements, which can target specific health indications. Sometimes they can be used as a combination with medicines, and sometimes they can provide a natural alternative to medicines. And sometimes they can be a precursor to medicines. So, you know, this is not only about health insurance products, but products now coming onto the market more and more in this nutritional supplement arena can target specific indications or concerns. And getting that education across and making sure that it's done in a scientific way, so it's not just marketing and hocus pocus, but it's actually clinically proven. There's a lot of benefits for these types of products.
Okay.
A good example to add to what you said is sometimes we get women, by their own nature of their anatomy, are prone to sometimes urinary tract infections, especially also when they're in pregnancy. So we all know that cranberry juice, when it's taken, can help to prevent urinary tract infection. But sometimes for it to act more effectively, you may need to consume lots of it. So you may find now some nutritional supplements which have come and which are based on cranberry, the molecule of the cranberry, to help these women who are having recurrent urinary tract infection, to at least prevent them getting this recurrent UTI. So sometimes they may come as supplements, which help, especially if you know you're prone to that you're able to take your supplements to markedly reduce the chances of you having this UTI.
And this is where the science comes in, Janet, is that everyone understands now that cranberry can help. But there's clinical research to show that 72 milligrams of the active ingredient called proanthocyanidins in cranberry stops the adhesion of E. coli in the urinary tract. So if you have a supplement which is standardized to give you 72 milligrams in a dose, backed by science, but a natural alternative, this is where the science and nature is starting to come together to give consumer options and to give consumer benefits.
That's really good information. Before we even go on, there's a difference between supplements and vitamins, is there? Or there isn't?
Supplements basically talks about vitamins and minerals.
Okay.
Yes, and maybe probiotics also.
Okay, that's just good to clarify.
Yep, I'd add a few more as well. Antioxidants can be a form of nutritional supplements. Phytonutrients like herbs as well. So yeah, vitamins and nutritional supplements are often used the same, but actually they're very different.
They're different. Is there a certain age at which people should start taking supplements?
Supplements can be taken across all the ages because we know that, as I said before, that we are always at different stages of life. Like a young child who is less than 1 year, they'll need vitamin A to help them to prevent the issues of blindness and any other problem they may face, like diarrhea and pneumonias. They may also need supplementation with vitamin D when they are young to prevent issues like rickets. Vitamin D is also necessary for women and men, especially over the age of 50 and above or 60 and above, depending on their lifestyle. Supplements are important across all the ages. The key thing is to note at each particular age which supplement is necessary for each age group. And the good thing is that we have supplements in different ways for all the ages, in sports, pregnant mothers, infertility, women going through cancer therapy or men going through cancer therapy, children. So you can have vitamins across all the age groups.
So, this issue of supplements with children, it's a very sensitive issue.
I was just going to ask.
And I think here, again, knowledge and information is absolutely crucial. I'll give you some plus and I'll give you some negative. The recent trend in our industry is to develop these gummies, okay? Now, recent research in Australia has shown that these gummies cause more problems than benefits because in the gummy, to keep a nice taste for children, they're limiting how much they can actually put in. And the sugar is more than 80% of the total. So there now a parent needs to understand this and say, well, what is the cost benefit? And to make a decision whether in this particular instance for this child, maybe they're not eating properly, it's worth giving the gummy because at least he or she might have it, but understand that you're taking on the sugar. Or for a child who is eating so well, maybe the gummy is not the best solution. But as Doctor said, there's specific nutrients important for children, and he's mentioned most of them. The only other one I would like to add is DHA. In the first few years of a child's life, their brain is developing. The computer is being built. Once a computer is built, now you're just how much can you run the computer? DHA builds your computer. And what you want to be doing in the first few years of life, up to the age of 3, is supplementing with DHA. Now, DHA source, Janet, is fish. How many children up to the age of 3 are eating fish? So DHA supplement is an interesting concept that parents should be given the choice and then make the decision.
And this is something that you're supposed to take daily. Just if we're to understand how to consume supplements, is supplements supposed to be taken daily, even in the case of a child who's below 3 or just turned 3? It's okay?
I think it's a difficult question. It depends on the supplement and depends on the life stage.
And circumstance also. I like what he has talked about DHA. I know many of you know DHA as omega-3, isn't it? And there's a lot of research going on about omega-3. In fact, we are now beginning to supplement like pregnant mothers with omega-3 even from as early as 20 weeks and above, because we know the baby's brain, the connection to the brain starts forming actively from the age of 28 weeks. And DHA, or omega-3, has been shown to improve, one, is eye development for the babies. 2, it may also help to improve the prevention of allergies and also the brain development itself, as he has said. So that DHA omega-3 supplementation is very important in pregnancy. And more research, because we cannot all consume deep sea fish, salmon, where most of the DHA is gotten from. Yes, there are some can be gotten from a few grain products, but why not just go for your omega-3 capsule you swallow once a day, and that helps you a lot in helping your baby.
Can we talk a little bit about women's health? Because I feel like that's where sometimes the concerns are. Even when I asked on my social media, a lot of the women who responded were asking, are you sure me taking a supplement isn't going to affect my baby? Are you sure I can, even if I have diabetes, I can be taking a certain supplement? What are the myths that you want to debunk around supplements for women, especially who are pregnant? This will help me, by the way. Okay. I am listening.
Good. First of all, we must also ask ourselves, it's important for women who are pregnant or planning to conceive to take some certain supplements or some certain vitamins. It's very crucial. And we said one of them is folic acid. And again, folic acid also has its own issues in the sense that you want to take it not more than 1,000 micrograms, because more than 1,000 micrograms, it also has its own issues. So the standard dosing is anything less than between 400 to up to 1,000 micrograms. Number two, you also require zinc. You also require iodine. Interestingly, there are some vitamins which are very important, like iodine, which is not even, people don't even talk much about it. But it's very important to help to prevent iodine deficiency in children, where it can present as mental retardation. Iodine deficiency causes mental retardation. We also have zinc, which is very crucial. We have calcium, which is very important, especially in our setup, because sometimes we don't consume as much milk as we are supposed to consume as a society. So that research is showing that sometimes lack of calcium can actually lead to pregnancy-induced high blood pressure. And pregnancy-induced high blood pressure, as you all know, is one of the causes of our mothers dying. Actually, it's the second commonest cause of mothers dying during pregnancy and childbirth. And calcium may help to prevent this dreadful disease coming up during pregnancy. We also have other vitamins like iron. It is so crucial. In fact, World Health Organization says at the most minimum in pregnancy, all mothers must be supplemented for iron and folic, because iron is important to prevent what we call anemia, because we know anemia, or what we call low blood level, is the commonest indirect cause of our mothers dying during pregnancy and childbirth. So these are very essential vitamins. That is the iron, and nowadays many formulations come of iron. So that when you are looking at a supplement you're supposed to take during pregnancy and childbirth, the key thing is look at what does it contain. Does it have folic? Does it have iron? Does it have calcium? Does it have zinc? Does it have iodine? May have omega-3. And one thing I also want to note is that if you are pregnant, it's good to avoid vitamin A from animal origin, so that you don't just take a regular vitamin for pregnancy, because regular vitamins for people who are not pregnant may have high levels of vitamin A. And vitamin A from animal origin may be harmful if you're pregnant, especially if it is above a certain unit. But we love vitamin A from the plant origins, and sometimes it comes written as beta-carotene. So anytime you're looking at your pregnancy supplements, look at vitamin A, sometimes it's written as beta-carotene. That is the safer version of the vitamin A you need for pregnancy.
Does this also apply for women who want to conceive, some of these, or is it a bit different for that?
For women who are planning to conceive, I think the key thing is the folic acid. They may also take the pregnancy vitamins, because as we said, there are supplements for each stage.
Okay.
So that you have to be very careful when you're choosing your supplement when you're pregnant, that choose the ones which are tailor-made for pregnancy.
And you just consult your gynecologist most
Exactly.
importantly, just to make
Exactly.
sure. Okay. Interesting question here that I also got from my social media around affordability. I don't think it's completely off, but some people saying, supplements, in my opinion, are very expensive. It's not something that I'm able to budget for, so what do I do? I don't know how you want to answer that.
Well, this is a little bit of a difficult question, because I don't know the Kenya market as well, but let me talk a little bit from a European perspective, and there may be some parallels. You see, there's a bit of a contradiction here. One of the observations are that lower income families tend to have issues with a healthy diet. So actually, it happens to be that many low-income families are in more need of a supplement because perhaps they have a less healthy diet. Also, an interesting bit of research that was done by a gentleman called Professor Crawford in London. So he was analyzing pregnancy outcomes between East London and West London. East London is known to be less affluent than West London. And his research showed, because of the diet, and a poorer diet in lower income families in East London, many pregnancy outcomes were traditionally worse in East London hospitals than in West London hospitals, one marker being, for example, birth weight. So that in itself shows that, albeit that there is an affordability issue, and maybe that's an obligation for companies like ours to look at what we can do socially, but I think that there is definitely a requirement in lower income families and in lower income situations for supplements.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, because I know that's something that I got asked quite a bit and could be a concern. And I think it was, I don't know if it was Satyan or someone who mentioned in Kenya, we're almost, in terms of information around supplements, we're far behind in terms of where we should be. But I think a lot of it is the right information getting out and also understanding which supplements are for which life stage.
You know, one of the not wanting to get too political, but one of the disappointments I see in many markets around the world is that pharmaceutical products often get preferential treatment in terms of tax to ensure that the products that get imported are often at a lower cost base to make them more affordable. Well, you know, it would be quite interesting, for example, in areas of pregnancy supplements, if governments could look at that to also help you know, the companies to get supplements into a marketplace at a more affordable price range.
Okay, something to look out for. Maybe Dr. Kagema or yourself, Mohamed, could tell me about the research on the nutrients for Quest Multi and pregnancy, if you want to touch on that.
Well, to be honest, doctors really covered it. The only thing I can say to have my little plug is that the Quest Multi hits all the bases that Doctor was talking about. So, for example, it doesn't contain vitamin A in retinol form. It contains it in beta-carotene form. It contains calcium, magnesium, zinc. It contains antioxidants. It contains iron. The only other point of difference I would say about the Quest Multi is we use a very natural form of multivitamin, of minerals. One of the biggest problem with minerals in pregnancy that I have come across, and maybe Doctor has as well, is compliance. Because minerals, high mineral supplementation causes gastrointestinal problems like constipation. So inorganic, cheaper forms of iron like ferrous fumarate, ferrous sulfate, they cause constipation. And pregnant women then have a difficult decision now if I carry on taking the product or not. In the Quest product, we use an organic form called amino acid chelated iron, and that doesn't cause gastrointestinal upset. So when it comes to Quest, we're trying to look at things holistically, and we try to take the science and the nature and merge it into a product.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to that, or?
What I would say is that Multi has basically all what is required in pregnancy, especially the things we're mentioning about calcium, iron, iodine, zinc, vitamin A as beta-carotene. But it's true what Mohamed was saying, that one of the biggest problem is pregnancy is constipating on its own. You don't even need to take anything. Pregnancy constipates. So you'll find one of the biggest side effects of sometimes pregnancy supplements is constipation, as he's saying. So that you'd rather have, the biggest culprit is usually iron, the iron, types of iron within the supplement. And you'll find the ones which are chelated to amino acids, they tend to be less constipating or to have less of that gastro-digestive kind of side effects.
Okay. And the final question is just this people who, like I said, supplements for them has never been a part of their lifestyle. Maybe they need it. So how does one start? Do you just get up and go to your doctor, whether or not you're pregnant? But where do you start? How do you start so that it becomes part and parcel of one's lifestyle?
Obviously, doctors have an important role to play. Pharmacists also have a very important role today. In fact, this morning we were conducting a training at Quest for pharmacists at the Good Life pharmacy chain. And so we're trying to give them the tools that enable them to field the types of questions that they may get asked to make sure that they recommend the right products. And one of the things I was telling them is it's very easy to sell one product to a patient, the first box. But it's actually getting the repeat buy will only occur if you've actually managed to match the consumer with the right product. But thirdly, honestly, I would encourage people to get onto the internet. In this day and age, there is so much information. And I understand sometimes there's an information overload, but there's certain reputable sites that give good information. And I feel people could take a little bit of a responsibility to just get a little bit up the learning curve and find the supplement so that they meet the companies, the doctors, and the pharmacists halfway.
Okay.
I think it's important as people go to see their health practitioner, maybe even to ask the doctors, do I need a supplement? Or do I have to take sometimes the curative treatment? Because sometimes some conditions just require just a supplement. And with a supplement, you're able maybe to control the condition you have. So sometimes also good as a patient to take the question forward to your health practitioner and ask, do I need a form of supplement? It's also good to encourage, I think, all of us to read more around the supplement so that you get to know even for yourself, what do you really need at each particular stage you are in life? In that way, even when you go to meet your health practitioner, you are more enlightened. And interestingly, as health practitioners, we love enlightened clients because they're able to challenge us and you're able to have a discussion and say, yes, this is what you need. Yes, you don't need this. I think you can continue with what you have.
Okay, great. I'd now like to open the floor to a few questions.
I'm Winnie Kamanga.
Okay.
And my question is, how long is too long to be on supplements?
How long is too long to be on supplements?
I think that is a question sometimes you may have to maybe to deal with a health practitioner. Because a good example is if you're expectant, you can only take the pregnancy vitamins maybe during the period of your pregnancy and also during breastfeeding. So another very neglected period during women's health, in the sense that when you're breastfeeding, we know that in our society, our relatives come and tell us, take soap, take uji, take all this, okay? So that it's good to know that sometimes if you're taking a pregnancy vitamin, it ends at the end of breastfeeding. Then after that, you enter into the regular, maybe lifestyle. So I think it's good to consult and also to know when you have moved in from one state of physiology to another.
I think it really depends on what the objectives are, what the supplement is, and what the patient is. But what I would say is maybe the question's alluding to something which I'll answer head on, is that the regulations that apply on supplement manufacturers is that we have to ensure that our supplements are below certain levels, that they are usable for long-term use. And while some supplements are not suitable for long-term, many supplements like multivitamins or calciums or probiotics are designed for long-term use because they give you long-term benefits. So take a general probiotic product. Sure, you can take a probiotic after a course of antibiotics to restore the positive balance of microflora. That's great. But someone who took probiotics every day will find that generally their gut health will be overall good for a long term. So I think there should be less fear about taking supplements for a long time. However, there is an occasions and there are times where you just take a supplement for a specific stage, a specific indication, and then you stop again.
Yeah, you really just have to be aware of your health and where you are. Any other questions based on the panel discussion? Just your name and your question.
Okay, my name is Joshua Mboti, nutritionist. In some radio frequencies, there is an issue with iron. Those who are taking iron for long, there's some bacterial infections that one is prone to. Oh, kindly, doctor, you can clarify something on that. Number two, on range of vitamins that we take, some of them are GMO-based and others are non-GMO. Please, you can clarify on Quest, because their clients are a bit freaky and they ask, is this GMO-based, non-GMO-based? Is it Monsanto or non-Monsanto? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Judy Njeri. I am also a nutritionist, and I would wish Dr. Kagema and maybe Mr. Mohamed can explain the role of probiotic, and especially during pregnancy. Recent research has shown that the probiotic has a role to play in the outcome of pregnancy and a healthy baby. A mother who's taken some probiotics during pregnancy, the baby is less prone to allergies, especially eczema and that kind of thing. And also, on the same note, still the role of vitamin D during pregnancy.
Okay, I think we can tackle those sets of questions before we move into maybe the last set.
I'll tackle the issue of the iron. Iron is a fantastic supplement for everyone because iron helps to improve our blood levels, to prevent anemia, basically. But sometimes when you have severe infections, maybe you have a bad pneumonia or you have whatever severe illness you may have, sometimes we tell our clients, don't take the iron because some organisms thrive on iron. So that we told them, maybe you need to stop your iron supplement as we treat this infection, then after that, you can continue the supplements. Then, for Judy, you have brought in a very interesting topic about probiotics. Probiotics is currently the hot thing in supplementation. A lot of research is going on in the sense of, do we need probiotics? What are prebiotics? What are probiotics? And basically, probiotics, in layman terms, are just good bacteria within our system, which can be taken orally. And we have found that sometimes most of the problems we face, like a good example is even recurrent urinary tract infection, can actually be prevented by use of probiotics. Pregnant mothers have been shown that if they take probiotics, and it's true what you have said, they tend to get babies who have less chances of eczema and repeated maybe respiratory tract infections. We all know that long time when people used to grow up on the farm, babies who were born that time never used to have allergy problems as we have today, because maybe due to the exposure to the germs which are there. It's the same kind of principle being applied to probiotics, where if you take probiotics now, increasing research is showing that those babies tend to have less chance of allergy and basically eczema. Number two, even issues of diarrheal diseases. Recurrent thrush. You know, when you are pregnant, one of the biggest problems we face is sometimes yeast infections. And yeast causes a lot of itchiness, a lot of curd-like or cottage cheese kind of discharge. And sometimes when you take probiotics, especially if it's become recurrent, probiotics may help to prevent these kind of problems. So it's a new thing in town, and I think we are going to keep on hearing more and more about it. And we have good products coming to the market to help us to supplement our patients.
So you take those along with your other
Yes.
pregnancy supplement?
Yes.
Okay. I think there was also something around vitamin D.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, vitamin D, yeah.
Vitamin D, you all know that sunshine is important for vitamin D. We get vitamin D basically from sunshine or even from some animal products. But research has shown that many people, especially pregnant mothers, are also vitamin D deficient. And vitamin D deficiency may cause sometimes a lot of nausea in pregnancy, like nausea and vomiting in early pregnancy. In fact, sometimes when you do studies on people presenting with excessive nausea and vomiting in early pregnancy, you may find they have low vitamin D levels. Or you find babies who are coming now with a bit of pneumonias, rickets and all that, because of vitamin D deficiency, may have emanated from the sense that the mothers do not have enough stores of vitamin D in their breast milk and in their stores, because maybe they don't get enough sunshine or they don't get enough supplements which are vitamin D, so that vitamin D is crucial in pregnancy.
All right.
I just want to build further on the discussion on probiotics. I'm incredibly passionate about probiotics. At Quest, we manufacture our own probiotics. We're one of only a few companies in the world that actually manufacture our probiotics all the way from the starting material. And Doctor's absolutely right. There is growing research on the different benefits of probiotics. It can almost be overwhelming. There's a paper coming out once a week on something new. Probiotics this, probiotics that. The challenge for a company like us is we wait for the probiotic research to get to a critical mass where there's enough scientific, trustable evidence to then use to build a product. And so we've built probiotic products, often combining probiotics with other natural ingredients for things like irritable bowel syndrome, for infantile colic, for UTIs, for pregnancy, to reduce atopic conditions, which was touched on, for cholesterol, for immunity. All these products will be coming soon to Kenya. We have an onus on us to educate. But one thing is for sure is that when we educate, we have to do it based on science. Because the problem with these fads or latest things is that they can sometimes get disguised by marketing. And it's very important that you hold any product to account that what is actually the scientific evidence to justify this formulation and this combination, and for probiotics particularly. So yeah, probiotics is hot. It has huge potential benefits, but we have an uphill battle on education and ensuring that we retain quality, scientifically supported products in the market. Moving to GMO, it's very simple. At Quest, we simply don't use GMO ingredients, and that's very important when we supply. Things like not adding sugar, things like making sure that wherever possible you get a vegetarian source. These are things that are very important to Quest, but GMO, 100%, our products do not contain it.
Thank you for that answer. I think we have time for 2 more questions.
My name is Minnie Gitao. My question on supplements. Are there particular times we need to take the supplements? Because some say you take them in the morning, others you take them in the evening at lunchtime. What is the recommendation? Can we all take all of them in the morning, for instance?
Okay.
David Kasonga, Head of Retail from Good Life Pharmacy. A quick question from the pharmacy sector. I don't see a lot of support from the pharmacy. We work with professionals who have no passion for supplements. They are more chemistry oriented, I know. So how are you finding that to be a hurdle, and how are you breaking through that barrier? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anthony Ndongo, and I have one question. How many SKUs can I take per time? Or rather, do I need to take all at once? I can see you have multi and you have B and C energy. Can I take them at once, or I need to take one at a time per month? And then the second question, are they contraindicated with any condition?
I'll give a few answers and then pass on. Look, general rule from a manufacturer's perspective, and maybe there's a different or a supplementary answer from doctor, is it's important for maximizing absorption to take it with food, typically. And that can also reduce any potential gastrointestinal problems, but can definitely enhance absorption. Sometimes some of the nutrients in food work synergistically to help the absorption for some of the items in the supplement. Probiotics, as an example, you definitely want to take that with food as well, because the biggest challenge for probiotics is they have to reach the intestine to confer a health benefit. They have to pass through the acidity in the stomach. So if you take it after food or with food, typically your stomach is less acidic at that time, so there's more chance of the probiotics reaching the intestine.
There was, I think he alluded to pharmacists not being passionate about supplements. Is that what you meant? Yes.
It's very simple. When someone has gone through training, they are, I don't want to use the word indoctrinated, but they're trained in a specific way because that's their training, and they understand synthetic molecules, they understand what it means to take a pharmaceutical product. Pharmaceutical products have decent patient leaflet inserts where they talk about contraindications, they talk about safety, and that gives a lot of confidence. And I think the challenge for supplements, I think, to ensure that they get adopted by perhaps people who are a bit more cynical or a bit more targeted towards a chemical approach, is that we have to back everything we say as a manufacturer with science. And I have to have when I say something, everything I say must have a scientific rationale. And secondly, we have to develop our products almost to a pharmaceutical standard. We manufacture them under the same conditions. They have the same safety. They have the same traceability. They have the same information to allow a pharmacist to understand when they can't use it. So how to break that issue? The onus is on a manufacturer like Quest to do these types of things. And then conversations like this, they move forward, and getting key opinion leaders like Dr. here to talk to his peers, that makes a big difference as well.
Yeah. I think the final one was, you mentioned SKUs.
That's a very difficult question because it really depends on the person and the supplement and the combination. And there again, we have to make sure that the pharmacists are educated to explain. Now, for example, you said, can I take a multivitamin and a B complex? Well, over there, typically a multivitamin will contain B vitamins as well. So in that instance, while you might not be doing so much harm, all you're going to be taking is expensive urine because the B vitamins that you don't need, your body is naturally going to excrete it. So if you take both together, really you're wasting your money. And you really need to choose one or the other in that instance. But then there's other instances where combining 1, 2, or 3 together, like we said for pregnancy, taking a pregnancy multivitamin, adding a DHA, adding a probiotic, taking all 3 together has a benefit. So it really depends case by case.
There's a question about the timing of taking. Maybe I can mention a few cautions. One is that, let's say like iron, anything to do with iron is better absorbed when you take it with a fruit. You know, vitamin C helps to absorb your iron, so that anytime you're taking an iron supplement, it's always better to take it with maybe some orange juice or some mango juice. It improves absorption of the iron. Number 2, it's better to avoid taking pure iron and pure calcium at the same time because they kind of inhibit each other in terms of absorption. So that iron and calcium is best when they're taken. If they're maybe like you have an iron supplement here, pure iron, pure calcium, it's best if you don't take them together, solve them together at the same time. Then thirdly, probiotics. You should not take probiotics with antibiotics at the same time. You must always maybe complete your antibiotic use because remember probiotics are basically bacteria, good bacteria. So when you take antibiotics at the same time you take a probiotic, you are lessening the effectiveness of your probiotic. So that is best if you have a UTI, finish your course of antibiotics, and then continue with your probiotic.
Wow, so you just really have to constantly engage the person who's told you about the supplements to know about the timings, the best timings, because there's no one answer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And definitely the manufacturer's advice would typically contain that kind of information to help you. Health practitioners can help you. But if you saw, generally it was take with food and don't take it all at once. So if you typically spread it out, breakfast, lunch, dinner, so there are rules of thumb that can help people. And when we're talking about efficacy, we're talking about declined efficacy. We're not saying it's going to be completely useless. So I can see it can be quite overwhelming, but there are certain rules of thumb you can follow to ensure that you get the benefits. But then there are certain, like anything, that you can go take it to the next level and get it absolutely perfect. And you know, vitamin C was such a good example. So for example, in the Quest Iron, because of that, we put vitamin C inside our Quest Iron. So that then we're not even relying on the patient to be taking the vitamin C, we kind of send everything down together at the same time.
Makes it easier.
And that's why a lot of manufacturers, not just Quest, they take this holistic approach when they design their formulations, and then that can always help the patient and improve their efficacy.
Okay. Wow, a lot of great information. I don't know if you have any parting words, Mohamed, doctor?
Parting shot is this, that supplementation with vitamins and minerals and even probiotics is important. The key thing is to understand what stage of life are you in. Are you preconception? Are you pregnant? Are you breastfeeding? Are you in menopause? Are you trying to conceive? As a man also, are you trying to conceive also? Or are you above 60 where you need something? So it is always good to know what stage you are in so that you understand what supplement is right for you, because there is a supplementation for every stage of life.
I think where there is such a positive benefit at the end of this with supplementation, I think I would just encourage everyone to start educating themselves, asking questions, challenging manufacturers, challenging health professionals, and through that, learning as much as they can. And ultimately, the goal will be a healthier lifestyle, less health problems.
Okay. Let's give them a round of applause. Fantastic information. Juza Jivanji is the MD of Arman Limited, and he can just give a few votes of thanks. Let's welcome him.
Hi. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Janet, I think I fully agree with you. There is a lot of education we Kenyans need. And that's what we want to try to achieve. We're not here to sell, but let's educate. Yeah. And as consumers, ask the right questions to your health practitioners. We need to get these myths that we don't need supplements or we can overdose on supplements and things like that. Understand what we are doing. Yeah. It's very interesting that we need supplements for every stage of life and all that. I mean, I'm hoping that we can take this conversation forward in future. But a big word of thanks to Dr. Kagema, Mohamed for flying in for this event, and Janet for gracing this occasion. Yeah.
Good evening. I think this was very exciting. I've been in the supplements industry for 25 years, and this is amazing. When I first started in the 90s, I used to write to the paper and pass the same message. So with social media today, we have a power today to help people. Now, thank you everyone for coming, and thank you to our panel. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much everyone for coming. I'm personally pretty blown away by this information. Engage us, those of us who are on social media, we would love to spread the word. I think we could reach people who would have otherwise not been knowledgeable or interested. But I think we're onto something great that we're having this conversation. And thank you all for coming, for Satyan and Mohamed and the doctor. Thank you guys for being amazing participants. Let's keep the conversation going and let's begin to change the mindsets of Kenyans.